Have you heard of gaslighting? It's basically psychological manipulation. You trick someone into questioning their own sanity, their own morals and decisions. Toxic boyfriends do it all the time, and so does the United States of America. Don't believe me? Listen to this US diplomat talking about India.
Mr. Chairman, I could not agree with you more about our disappointment about the symbolism and the timing of Prime Minister Modi's trip to Moscow. We are having those tough conversations with our Indian friends.
Classic strategy. I'm not angry about what you did. I'm just disappointed. Well, we've got news for the United States. New Delhi doesn't need validation. Also, let's just check the calendar. These comments were made in Washington on Tuesday. Guess who was also in Washington on Tuesday? Benjamin Netanyahu, a man whose war has killed more than 38,000 Palestinians. Doesn't that count as bad symbolism? I guess not. But let's focus on India for now. The man you just heard is Donald Lu. He's in charge of America's foreign policy in South Asia. This week, he spoke to the US Senate. He was asked about Prime Minister Modi's recent trip to Moscow. What you heard was his response. Just two problems, though. One, it's none of Washington's business. As a friend, you can always share concerns, but you do so privately, not in a televised Senate meeting. But then again, maybe that's the whole point. Use a public forum to build pressure. Of course, New Delhi is having none of it. Listen to what the Foreign Ministry spokesperson said today.
You must understand that India has long-standing relationship with Russia that is based on mutuality of interests. In a multipolar world, all countries have the freedom of choice. It is essential for everybody to be mindful of and appreciate such realities.
Which brings us to the second part of gaslighting, which is also problem number two. The US is doing the same thing. You see, Donald Lu is also in charge of Pakistan. So he spoke about Washington's Islamabad policy as well. And what did he say? That China is Pakistan's past. America would be the future.
How do we leverage our position with Pakistan, our historic relationship, given also our relationship with India, and that's developing very quickly? How do we balance that and keep that in our advantage?
In the 2 seconds I have, I'll say, China is the past in terms of investments in Pakistan. We are the future.
How about that? India should stay away from America's rival, which is Russia, but America can support India's rival, which is Pakistan. What sort of double standard is this? Just think about it. Russia and the US are not at war. They don't have border disputes. All they have is a proxy conflict. Very different from India and Pakistan. Pakistan's policies have actively hurt India. Their terrorists are still launching attacks in Jammu and Kashmir. They are killing Indian soldiers. And what does Washington do? Promise more support to Pakistan. Let's take a closer look at the track record. Prime Minister Modi did not sign defense deals in Moscow. Unlike China, India is not arming Russia, nor is it sending dual-use equipment. But yes, we are buying cheap Russian energy for our people. Even Donald Lu admitted this. He said no major arms deals were signed in Moscow.
We did not see any new major defense deals. We saw no major discussion of technology cooperation. In addition, you have Modi having said in front of Putin on live television his feeling that the war in Ukraine could not be won on the battlefield.
Not just that, Prime Minister Modi also gave a message of peace. He reiterated his opposition to wars, and he condemned the death of children. Now compare that to Washington. In 2022, they announced a new military package for Pakistan, almost $450 million to upgrade their fighter jets. In 2023, Pakistan renewed a military deal with the United States, a deal that allows Washington to sell arms to Pakistan. So if anyone should be disappointed, it is India, because US policy actively threatens India's national security. Which raises the question, what should we learn from this episode? Mainly two things. One, Washington never learns. They've tried to lecture India before, and each time India has hit back, yet the Americans keep coming back for seconds. Maybe it's their default mode. Or maybe it's a superpower complex. The belief that you are the center of the world, that everyone must live by your rules. And point number two, it shows there is work to be done on this relationship because let's face it, India and the US need each other. whether it's for economic development or to safeguard supply chains or to take on China or to fight climate change. This is an era-defining friendship, but it's not a stable one yet. We've come a long way since the trust deficit of the Cold War, but much more needs to be done because such comments will gradually build up resentment and friction. How long before that spills over and spoils cooperation? Let's hope we never find out.
Across continents, one powerful news source.
Bringing you diverse perspectives on the issues that matter.
We go beyond the boundaries to give you that little extra about every sporting moment.
So thank you for making Firstpost 5 million strong. We're counting on your support, and you can trust us to bring you the news unfiltered and unvarnished.
Climate change is on our doorstep. It's time for a revolution to take root. And it starts with 1.4 billion Indians. It starts with one tree for humanity, one tree for Mother Earth, one tree for our future. Project One Tree, a News 18 network initiative.
Obviously today, the T20 World Cup bandwagon has moved across to the West Indies. What do you expect from this?
Hello, I'm Alison Green, coming to you from Durban, South Africa. Today we have a special show.
Start with a report on India's shifting nuclear posture. The first time since India officially became a nuclear power.
Hello and welcome to